Hello everybody, it's Louise here, and welcome back to, the 6th episode of the A-TREE-ciation podcast? If you've been with me on this from the very beginning, thank you, and if you're just joining now, then an extra big welcome to you all. If you want to listen to this podcast from the start, you can go back to my channel and click on the A-TREE-ciation playlist. As always, I'm discussing the amazingness of trees, because I'm a massive tree enthusiast, if you can't already tell. And this leads us to the star of today's show, the Japanese maple. These gorgeous trees are native mainly to Asia, including Japan, Korea, China, and some parts of Russia and Mongolia, because they are that's where they grow. They have become a very popular plant in recent years, particularly for small urban gardens that don't have much space for anything else, as it is rare for a Japanese maple to surpass 10 metres in height. This is mainly because they grow excruciatingly slowly, taking up to a year to grow a single foot. The tallest in the world stood at a mighty only 14 metres 90 centimetres. Couldn't even reach 15. Despite being, in my opinion, the most beautiful plant in this corner of the universe, this slow growth is probably a source of frustration to any gardener looking for a nice big tree to fit a formal lawn. Beauty isn't everything. Upon saying that, however, these pretty little aces have been used for medicines, chiefly for treating optical setbacks and easing liver functions, since the 18th century. Now, before you get any ideas in that head of yours, and start rubbing random leaves all over your eyeballs, I want to say that I am not encouraging you to do so. In fact, I am discouraging you. I don't want you to make your eyes worse, so if you're having issues, please consult a doctor, and not one from the 1700s, because I have no idea if they are reliable. Traditionally, these shrubby trees are an emblem of fortune, peace, endurance, beauty, patience, and autumnal things. Japanese maples are adaptable or versatile, making them perfect for almost any household in the world to adopt. Yes, even in the city, you dwellers without a garden at all, you can have an acer, in the form of a bonsai. Just don't prune it to death, that's all. In Japan, maples are known as keirei, or frog's hands, and momiji, meaning become crimson leaves. The crimson leaves bit is pretty obvious, although it is also used to describe foliage in general in Japan, but the frog's hands bit comes from the leaf's shape, which is reminiscent of the splayed fingers of a toad. In Japan, the maples feature in an ancient traditional play, or a no, basically a talent show, involving dancing and dramatics to tell a story, though I'm really downplaying it here. It is the oldest major surviving theatrical art in the world today. Anyway, in the story of the Momijigari, sorry, I really don't know how to pronounce these Japanese words, I'm trying my very best. Well, in this play, one version describes how their hero, Taira Koromochi, and his faithful band of friends are off on a hunting trip around the mountainside, with the aces at their peak, naturally, when they find a lovely princess. She is busy having a feast with all her friends when they stumble upon her party, and she invites them to join, looking for all the world like an innocent damsel on a night out, 1887 style. Koromochi doesn't want to, but eventually she wins him over. They spend a happy night eating and drinking, and then Koromochi is falling asleep. The wine was a bit heavy, poor thing, when he realizes the princess isn't actually a princess, but a demon in disguise. I know, didn't see that one coming, did you? Well, he kills her. It's a happy ending for everyone. Everyone but the demon, that is. The other version that I know of starts similarly. Koromochi runs across a group of maidens. My source doesn't specify this, but I'm pretty sure they're good looking too. They're just out enjoying the Momijigari, yeah, I think that's the one, as everyone does, and our hero joins them. He drinks their rice wine, which makes him sleepy, again, poor chap. He takes a nap, at which point these maidens reveal their true demonic forms. In his sleep, Koromochi has a run-in with Hachiman, the Japanese god of war. This deity trusts the protagonist with an enchanted sword, as you do, which is there when he wakes. Koromochi kills all the demons with his magical blade, and it's happy ever after again, except the demons. They always get it so rough. I don't know if this tale is supposed to be a warning against seductive women, peer pressure, temptation, or just the dangers of walking in the woods alone, But no matter what the message is, any theatrical rendition of this story is bound to be exquisite. I think we need a few fun facts now, for cracking at the dinner table or at awkward moments during a dry text conversation. Acer is a Latin word that means sharp. This describes the leaf shape of these trees, although I always thought they looked lacier and more delicate than sharp. They can get sunburn, just like us. Water droplets that land on the shrub can refract the sunlight onto the leaves, scorching them to a crisp. This is true of most plants, to be fair, but you can avoid burning them by watering them in the evening, or even planting them in the shade. Japanese maples were introduced to the UK only 200 years ago, give or take a few decades. Acer leaves are edible. I wouldn't recommend trying this at home, in case you are that one unlucky person in a million that picks a dodgy leaf and gets poisoned. They can be fried in a sugary batter for a yummy snack. They are popular in Mino, Osaka, and have been for a whole millennium. To be fair, I think you could deep fry just about anything and it would taste great, vegetables included. Maples tend to feature more an ethereal symbolism than an actual explanatory folklore, but they have been a revered inspiration for poetry and art as long as anybody can remember, and then some. The famous Hiroshige, I think that's how his name is pronounced, I'm really sorry if it's not, was a participant in the ukiyo-e art movement, creating stunning works of woodblock painting, several of which depict aces. They are a prominent part in each picture, enhancing the natural beauty of the Japanese landscapes. Although this poem which I'm about to read to you is far from traditional, being written less than a decade ago by an Australian journalist, it does not need the weight of the past to be thoroughly moving. Clive James was seriously ill for many years before he passed on at the age of 80, leaving in his stead a poem called The Japanese Maple. Your death, near now, is of an easy sort. So slow a fading out brings no real pain. Breath growing short is just uncomfortable. You feel the drain of energy, but thought and sight remain, enhanced, in fact. When did you ever see so much sweet beauty as when fine rain falls on that small tree, and saturates your brickbat garden walls, so many amber rooms and mirror halls? Ever more lavish as the dusk descends, this glistening illuminates the air, it never ends. Whenever the rain comes it will be there, beyond my time, but now I take my share. My daughter's choice, the maple tree is new. Come autumn and its leaves will turn to flame. What I must do is live to see that. That will end the game. For me, though life continues all the same. Filling the double doors to bathe my eyes, a final flood of colour will live on. As my mind dies, burned by my vision of a world that shone so brightly at last, and then was gone. This beautiful work of art is more than tribute to the living, dead, and the aces, laid with such emotion and the pains of a real living human. To anybody suffering alone by themselves out there, I hope that this has brought you some comfort, and I wish you a speedy recovery against all the odds. I've gone and wandered a little bit off the subject about art and literature, but you'll always find that is a strong area of interest with me, so sorry if I bored you a bit. To be honest, I had no idea who Clive James was until I started researching the Acer, but I am so glad I stumbled across the extract. I haven't felt this strongly about a piece of poetry in a long time. Japanese maples are pretty sturdy as trees go. The average the average can tolerate about minus 23 Celsius, minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit if you're watching from America, and incredibly high temperatures, although this depends on the species, as some leaves are more prone to their sunburn occurrences than others. Now this podcast is drawing to a close, so it is time for your horoscope. As usual, people born between the 12th of October and the 21st are also born under the Acer tree. You are highly intelligent, with a strong memory that enables you to solve problems that elude the rest of the world. You have a wide and deeply rooted interest in new things and trying out original ideas. This quickly leads to you inspiring other people to step out of their comfort zones too. Even if you are a bit of a cynic at times, you are open-minded and sociable. All eyes are on you when you walk into the room, and you have massive influence over the rest of the world. You aren't really all that versatile, and you don't settle down easily, But this can be learned. Take a moment to appreciate the people around you, rather than leaping on to impress the next row of spectators. That being said, once bound by marriage, you are likely to live a long, passionate, and chiefly happy life. Goodbye, and thank you for listening. If you like this, please consider subscribing to my channel, because next week we have a very, very special guest on the show. And I will see you again in 2 weeks.